Hey everybody, welcome back to another video with Technically Gifted. I'm Kobe Brooks, 23-year-old software engineer at Twilio. Today we are focusing on people in boot camps. Whether that means you want to get into one, you're currently in one, or you're just leaving one. We want to help you make the most of your experience. So here are some quick tips that really will help you succeed.
3, 2, 1, okay.
First thing you want to get into is understanding your why. You want to have the best motives when you approach these boot camps or when you're going through them. Because tech is a place where not a lot of people that are going to use your products really care about the underworkings. I compare it to being like a mechanic on a car. A lot of people are going to drive their car. They know that they have to maintain it, but they're not really worried about how it gets maintained. They take it to a dealership for that. Same thing with this technology and software that you sell or represent. They're going to come to you when there's any problems with it. They're going to come to you when they need to know how to use it or interact with it. You are basically a mechanic. You're a construction worker for software, and that's on all ends of the spear. You don't just have to be an engineer to really look at it from that perspective. And what this does is it leads to a lot of tedious and hard work because it is a gate-kept community and not a lot of people really care about it. They just want it to work. So this really makes the circle small of who you can talk to and you can go to for help, and it really leads to a lot of figuring things out on your own. And if you do this just for the money and don't learn to fall in love with the process of what you're doing, it can really become hard and just like a normal 9-to-5 that you really end up hating and don't want to go to every day. So you really want to take the time to understand whatever sector you're getting into. If this is engineering, that means understanding if you want to do a front end or back end role, because the things that you put up with are very different. And some people have the capacity to handle maybe some things that are required on the front end side, but not the back end side, and vice versa. And this is across the board. Maybe some people aren't as good with interacting or collaborating, but they are great at getting out and breaking down big picture items into smaller things. Maybe they want to be a project manager. Maybe they want to represent a project and maybe not do sales. These are things to talk about and consider when you're looking at a boot camp or some type of preparation role for getting into tech. The next thing is, how do you actually find a boot camp? There's tons of resources out there. Now, I am not going to spew out a list of boot camps that I suggest. What I did was I talked to a lot of people that come from a non-traditional, I hate that word, but non-traditional background in tech, and they're actually top performers at the different companies they are at. And what I realized is they all began self-taught. They fell in love with the process of learning and seeking information on their own. This led them to things like the Harvard CS50X course or Udemy courses, and even like Code Academy courses. It really allows them to have a good foundation before starting and diving into something more structured or disciplined, however you want to refer to it. And doing this gives you the freedom to kind of switch between topics. YouTube is a great place to learn a lot of these things, or even things like Geeks for Geeks. All the resources you need to maybe learn what it takes to be a front-end developer, back-end developer, project manager, engineering manager are out there. And a lot of people that are giving you first-hand accounts of their days are on these websites. And that makes it a great place to hop around and maybe figure out, oh, I thought I wanted to build websites, but no, I like to maintain databases. It's different things like that, and you can really find out a lot about yourself before you invest the money and time into a boot camp. And most of the time, what I could tell and pick out from the experience is that when you naturally follow these tutorials and learning paths on your own, you begin to interact with different forums, whether that's Reddit, like I said, Geeks for Geeks, or even YouTube. You'll start to get a lot of ads or see a lot of code academies or boot camps pop up across your search that a lot of other people have taken and used to learn, or maybe that they're promoting and giving you a lot of good things. And this is how you really start to begin building your list of boot camps that you should look at and begin diving deeper into. And thankfully, once again, the internet is your friend here, because you can find out firsthand accounts, reviews, and even like a business model for different boot camps, which can make you feel a lot safer about investing the time and money into it, as it is a big step, especially if you're looking at a career change. The biggest thing you need to understand is that boot camps are there to make money. That's what they are. They're a business just like any other college or teaching platform. People want to make money with these things. So with this in mind, when you look at a boot camp, you also want to understand that the best ones are going to have some type of good faith behind them. This means maybe favorable payment plans. This could mean maybe they defer payment to after you get your first job above a certain salary threshold. There are programs out there like that aren't going to ask for money up front because they believe in their ability to place you in a job. And those personally are the types of boot camps that I've heard good experiences from. A good example of this that I've heard is App Academy. I talked to someone that had a first account there. They're a very high performer in their role, and they were able to get placed in the job and not worry about paying tuition back until they made a certain amount. And to me, that shows a good faith. That shows coming from a good place and having a good business model. You're wanting to help people while also helping yourself. It's a win-win in the end. Now you can look up list of top 20, top 50 or whatever boot camps that you want and kind of narrow it down. But like I said, I think the best way to really do it is go through your own tutorials first, understand what you want to get into and what you want to become proficient in, so that when you actually look at a boot camp, you can choose the best one for your particular skill set that you want to learn. Now, while you're in your boot camp, you want to understand the best thing that they bring to you is the ability to build your resume with projects and real world problem solving. This also includes interview prep. I personally am not one to code on my own or build anything. One, because I just don't think I'm that creative. I don't sit at home, look at something and say, oh dang, I can code a solution to that. No, I'm just gonna go buy something or Google it to fix the problem. So when you have a boot camp, or if you're in a college, you have structured courses designed to make you build projects. And honestly, this is a lot easier for some people that find it harder to self-motivate to just build random things. But with that being said, what projects allow you to do is really spend time enjoying the build process and trial and error. There's a lot of times throughout your career, whether you're an engineer, project manager, or software engineer manager, that you're gonna have to sit down, read some type of blueprint, step through some type of code with a debugger, and really understand what's going on. And those are the times you're gonna question, what are you doing? But if you can learn to do it in a non-stressful environment and become very good at it and become very efficient at breaking big concepts down into little things, you'll be very successful after the fact. Now, interview prep is also huge in these boot camps, because a lot of the times you're going to need to learn some type of algorithmic or logical thinking. You can just kind of beat away on leak code and figure it out yourself, but you really want to pay attention to these aspects of the boot camps, as they're going to empower you and allow you to tackle these large topics very quickly. Something like dynamic programming or depth first search are very hard things to conceptually understand as a normal person, because of the amount of logical steps that it takes to get there and come up with a solution for a given problem. So having a boot camp, or even finding a good YouTube series on understanding the raw basics of these concepts, will really take you far. And once again, I think that's more relevant just to like a engineering role or a very technical role. And lastly, you also want to prioritize the skills that you don't think about when you go to these boot camps. This means your soft skills. You want to learn how to communicate and collaborate with people. While you're doing these projects or you're going through these courses in the boot camp, even go to your mirror and reiterate to yourself what's going on. Find somebody else in the boot camp or whatever instructor you have and reiterate what's going on. Tell them your thought process. Tell them how you're going to attack a certain project and have a conversation with them about it. This allows you to build these communication skills and these people skills that are going to be huge for you when you go to your interviews, or even when you do get your first full-time job. These are things that people look for. You can be the smartest person in the world, but if you cannot have someone understand you, you will struggle in this field. It is highly collaborative. Another part of this is learning how to visualize your thought process. Maybe you're not good communicating with words, but you're great drawing out with what you think. Personally, I think I fall under this boat. I may not be able to tell you what I'm doing, but if I can draw out a graph and have you step by step walk through it and break it down into really simple sentences, 9 times out of 10 I will get you to understand whatever I'm talking about. So that also may be a different approach for somebody. Either way, you still want to work on these skills. And lastly, you want to network. Whoever you come in contact with, add them on LinkedIn. Don't be afraid to, while you're learning in these boot camps, to go to tech conferences, to go to different talks or brunches that you find online. Once again, LinkedIn's a powerful tool for finding these things in your city and local to you. If you can go to the events like this, you'll begin to build meaningful relationships, because 9 times out of 10, you're not sitting there just talking about technology or Java or whatever coding language you are in. You end up talking about life, how someone got to whatever company or position that they're at, and you begin to establish more of a friendship and collaborative work relationship. This can be huge for getting a referral down the line, or even if someone becomes a manager and gets hired, needs a worker, and they think about you instantly just because of how great of a person you were. This happens. That's not rare that happens either. So yeah, never miss an opportunity to network, whether it's within your boot camp or without, because you saw some sort of event near you, or you were seeking them out even. Once again, LinkedIn is a great place for this. So just to reiterate, you want to understand your why, you want to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, and why you enjoy it. Next, when you find your boot camp, you want to take advantage of the projects in the space. You also want to take interview prep seriously, because that is not a normal way of thinking. I promise you, I hate preparing for interviews. And then you also want to build your soft skills. You want to be able to network, you want to be able to communicate, and you want to tell people what you're able to work on. Once again, these are probably the most important skills. Besides your ability to be technically proficient, having the ability to communicate will get you very, very far. Even if you don't end up in a technical role, and you end up not liking the coding side, your ability to communicate and collaborate will still be able to keep you in the tech space, living the lifestyle that you want to live or that you originally strived for. So thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I hope you got something from this. Leave a comment with where you are in your journey and where you're headed, as well as any experiences you think anybody else would find helpful. Let's keep building this knowledge space together and help everybody reach their goals.